Peace, love, and prosperity to my brothers and sisters taking the time out your busy schedule to rock with me today. This evening, we are going to be tuned in to Chapter 3. Thank y'all for watching Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. This is Chapter 3. My spiritual brothers and sisters, I think you understand now that this is not a game. To my elite enlightened ones, and that's what I call my subscribers, by the way, my elite enlightened ones, this is not a game. Your spiritual quest is so close to being fulfilled right now. I just want you to understand that you are the leaders. You don't have to follow anybody. You are the leaders. The Christ energy is within you. Let me get a little bit of air right quick. Welcome to the Darius Corbin Mystery School. I am Minister Corbin. This is the home of the esoteric and metaphysical knowledge. For those who took the time to watch Chapter 1 and 2, to my family who even took the time to leave a comment, please understand this first. When I say that you are my family, I mean that. When I say that you are my brothers and sisters, I mean that. There is a galactic federation that goes beyond the galactic federation you have heard. And family, we are all a part of that. So me giving you this knowledge right here through this wonderful book and through other esoteric knowledges is an honor. I always tell people, everybody alarm clocks don't hit at the same time. So what I'm going to do is, just like I did with Chapter 2, for Chapter 3, I'm going to start off where I left off on Chapter 2. Before I go in, I want to thank y'all for your time, your patience. Continue to leave comments. Hit that subscribe button. Share this. We are about to go in. If you thought I went in on Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, family, we are really about to go in on Chapter 3. Once again, welcome to the Darius Corbin Mystery School, the home of the esoteric and metaphysical knowledge. I am Minister Corbin. Welcome to the rise of the divine feminine energy, Christ energy. You ready? Let's recap, and then we're going right straight to Chapter 3. Kundalini energy is the feminine creative power in both females and males. The arousal of this energy and the conscious constructive application of its activated aspects are the key to raising the vibration of the physical body. In many Eastern spiritual traditions, a coiled and sleeping serpent symbolizes Kundalini energy to depict it as dangerous and consciously latent, L-A-T-E-N-T. In time and with considerable conscious growth and struggle, we learn how to raise and synthesize the masculine, feminine aspects of the Kundalini energy flowing through our nervous system. When building a new physical body, joining, balancing, and synthesizing the higher with the lower feminine and masculine are essential in order to access and draw down our monic, and that's spelled M-O-N-A-D-I-C, our monic energies into our personal life. Synthesized levels of monic energy within our higher nature, acting in union with its Kundalini energy counterpart, synthesized in our lower nature, are the powers that transform our body matter, not us. And let me read that again. Synthesized levels of monic energy within our higher nature, acting in union with its Kundalini energy counterpart, synthesized in our lower nature, are the powers that transform our body matter, not us. Apparently, masculine feminine consciousness takes form. Let me read that part one more time, family. Apparently, masculine, feminine components of duality are present in all levels of matter whenever your consciousness takes form. There we go. From our clairvoyant observations, this was evident within the creative emanations, the developmental cycles and periods of our planet, and the initial descent of energy into the three aspect rays. The author says, I believe it is only through the balance and union of duality within us as human beings that a synthesis or purity of ray aspect expression can be achieved. Through looking at our past development history, we can gain perspective on the cycle of polarity. Until recently in this Earth period and root race development phase, the apparent role and the responsibility of the masculine aspect has been to lead and prepare the way and matter for the feminine aspect. And of course, I'm going to read that one more time. Until recently, in this Earth period and root races, if you don't know about the root races, Google the root races. H.P. Belansky and Edgar Cayce are people who told you about root races. But let's continue going on. Until recently, in the Earth period and root race development phase, the apparent role and the responsibility of the masculine aspect has been to lead and prepare the way and matter for the feminine aspect. Following this preparation, the feminine role is to begin the subsequent creative leadership cycle in the Christ energy, expression, and matter. This active leadership role for the collective feminine principle seems to be so transformed present planetary life form. Let me run that one back with the quickness. This active leadership role for the collective feminine principle seems to be to transform present planetary life forms and bodies into newer and higher level of matter. From what the Holy Spirit showed us on inner planes, the author says, this leadership transition from a masculine to a feminine energy cycle began on Earth sometime around the mid-18th century. This feminine leadership cycle is necessary to bring about creative equality and aspect balance between the masculine and feminine in humanity to prepare us for the rapid evolutionary body changes ahead. We just ended the recap of chapter 2. Officially now, we are in chapter 3. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chapter 3, the rise of divine feminine energy, Christ energy. Let's go. However, presently, we lack spiritual perspective and a practical understanding of the masculine aspect of creative energy that is anchoring your Christ consciousness in the matter of our world. Did you guys hear that? However, presently, we lack spiritual perspective and a practical understanding of the masculine aspect of creative energy that is anchoring your Christ consciousness in the matter of our world. For a very long time, it has been the directing force in all levels of human life. This has been so much so that the predominant population has come to identify you in a male image. As a result, we have created a masculine entity within our collective consciousness as having dominion over us and the earth. Now, already on chapter 3, I got to take the glasses off, rub the face, make sure that you guys hear me on what I just said and what was just said. For my Bible scholars, for my church folks, even for my spiritual people, I'm going to read that again and do my best to break down what was just said. Let me get a good cold ice water. It's almost grub 32. The stomach is growling. Let's run that back. However, presently, we lack spiritual perspective and a practical understanding of the masculine aspect of creative energy that is anchoring your Christ consciousness in the matter of our world. For a very long time, it has been the directing force in all levels of human life. This has been so much so that the predominant population has come to identify with you in a male image. It goes on to say, as a result, we have created a masculine entity within our collective consciousness as having dominion over us and the earth. Wowzers, guys, that sounds like the biblical God, the punisher, the tormentor, the rapist. Oh yeah, there's scriptures in there where the God in that Bible tells people, kill the children. No, kill everybody. Kill all the women that has laid with a men. Kill all the women that have laid with a men, that ever laid with a men. And the young kids that are alive, the virgins, you can have your way with them. You can do what you want with them. That's in the scriptures. Through this false belief of this masculine, hyper-masculine energy that we have been in, that we are in now, the result is the imbalance of the divine feminine. As we just read, the masculine energy role was to prepare for the feminine energy, to prepare us for this Christ energy that is going to physically, emotionally, and spiritually involve us to new bodies physically and a divine power. But there has been a blockage, a hyperactive masculine energy that that people worship in the Bible. We created this male dominant God that punished people and curses women for being women. We created this. Listen, let's listen to what it says again, because I don't want people to start judging. So let me take my time reading, and I want you to understand, and that's why we have the comment section, because at the end of the day, we're all family. We're making sense of this together. So I don't mind repeating if you guys don't mind listening. For a very long time, it has been the directing force in all levels of human life. This has been so much that the predominant population has come to identify you in a male image. As a result, we have created a masculine entity within our collective consciousness as having dominion over us and the earth. The inherent energy force in matter has used these beliefs to crystallize your masculine aspect deep within the nucleus of all matter as the active or vitalizing agent on the physical plane. You know how you read something or you hear something, you're like, God, that was smooth. I got to hear that again. They wasn't teaching us this in church. They darn sure weren't teaching this in school, but you are hearing it now. My teacher, the late, great Dr. David Blair, said there is no truth until you decide what truth is. But this is damn sure something to think about, right? I'm going to read it one more time, and thank you for your patience, family. This has been so much so that the predominant population has come to identify you in a male image. As a result, we have created a masculine entity within our collective consciousness as having dominion over us and the earth. The inherent the inherited energy force in matter has used these beliefs. It says the inherited energy force, guys. That is very powerful talk. The inherited INHERENT energy force in matter has used these beliefs to crystallize your masculine aspect deep within the nucleus. That means the center, the nucleus of all matter as the active or vitalizing agent on the physical plane. Let's continue reading. The price paid, it says, this goes really heavy. The price paid, the price we paid for this damage done, family, the price paid for this vital help was the capture of its essence by the force in matter. Now listen, it goes on to say, this was not a failure since the capture incorporated the masculine aspect as an active principle in matter, a necessary step in manifesting cycle. However, in the process through masculine outer world activities, let's read that again. However, in the process through masculine outer world activities, the force in matter was conditioned to dominate and control the feminine energy in its passive role of supporting the masculine. If you guys are watching this, please leave comments. Please hit the like button. For the first time, you are not hearing nothing like this. And if you were hearing something like this before, or excuse me, you heard something like this before, then leave a comment. This is very powerful information that we as one, shout out to Frank and Beverly and Mays, that we as one should get together and talk about. Somebody holler at Congress. Shoot, I even hashtag Oprah. You know, Oprah used to have her little book club, right? Or respect her, not her little book club, but she used to have her book club, right? Once again, family, this is the book. Our Spiritual Destiny. Manifesting New Bodies by Frederick R. Kipp, K-I-P-P. This is real information right here. This is important information. Let's read that again. The price paid for this vital help was the capture of its essence by the force in matter. The masculine essence, The price paid for this vital help was the capture of its essence by the force in matter. This was not a failure, since the capture incorporated the masculine aspect as an active principle in matter, a necessary step in the manifesting cycle. However, in the process through masculine outer world activities, this is the outer world, family. However, in the process through masculine outer world activities, the force in matter was conditioned. The force in matter, this is matter, the force in matter was conditioned to dominate and control the feminine energy in its passive role of supporting the masculine. This being the case, the force in matter is not likely to give up its physical plane power source in the collective masculine entity operating through male and female bodies and consciousness without a fight. It's saying this God that we created through the Bible, not the one that we know is within us. We're not talking about that one. We're not talking about the creative, the infinite intelligence, the source, the one. We're talking about the demiurge that was created in the Bible. Now it says, this being the case, the force in matter is not likely to give up its physical plane power source in the collective masculine entity operating through male and female bodies and consciousness without a fight. Hypnotized by the power flowing through it from this force in matter, the collective masculine has deluded itself as to its outer world supremacy and has forgotten its co-creative role with the collective feminine. Let me get a drink of water. My stomach is growling, but it's all good. I'm going to give you this information. This being the case, the force in matter is not likely to give up its physical plane power source in the collective masculine entity operating through male and female bodies and consciousness without a fight. Hypnotized by the power flowing through it from this force in matter, the collective masculine has deluded itself as to its outer world supremacy and has forgotten its co-creative role with the collective feminine. Let's stop right there. For my Gnostics, for my family who know what Gnostics believe. Who are the Gnostics? For you guys who don't know, the ones who are parading and masquerading as true Christians right now, I'm talking about the priestess and the popes and all of them, they slaughtered and murdered the true people who had the true Christ knowledge. They were called the Gnostics, they were called the Essenes, they were called the Nazarites, they were called the Ebionites, they were called the Nazarites. I don't know if I said it already, but Nazarenes as well. These people had the truth. The Cathars, people like these are my ancestors and some of yours. They had the true knowledge. And do your research on what the Essenes believed, what the Nazarenes, what the Gnostics believe in general. And this goes right along. Read the non-canonical Gospels, the Nag Hammadi's, the Lost Gospels. Read those. Hell, watch my videos. I got videos about this. If not the Mystery School, then the Darius Corbin channel. This is important that you know this, guys, because the people who are in church are praising a false entity that has sucked like a vampire the energy of the people, because the people have been in this hyper masculine energy trap, and because of that, the balance of the divine and feminine energies have not been able to help us evolve, and they have entrapped the feminine energy, and they do it through the physical. You can see how the woman is being and has been blocked. Now you're starting to see the pendulum swing now. Yes, of course, we're in the age of Aquarius. But throughout history, you can see the complications and the confusions that the hyper-masculine energy has created. So I want to keep on going. And thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for your patience. Like I said, the stomach is growling. I'm going to get some grub after this, but I want to get this message and I want to get this presentation out. So thank y'all once again. Hypnotized by the power flowing through it from the force and matter, the collective masculine has deluded itself as to its outer world supremacy and has forgotten its co-creative role with the collective feminine. The creative plan, as I see, the author says, as I see it, is to transform dense physical matter, that's us, to transform dense physical matter to support higher levels of spirit. Therefore, this feminine leadership transition is not likely to be pleasant or painless for men or women, nor will it occur overnight. You can see it through Hollywood. You can see it through certain political structures. The feminine energy is striking, and it is striking furious. For me, I was born in the 80s, but, through history, I've seen the rise of it through the 60s movement and the 70s movement, when a lot of our brothers and a lot of our sisters was in the army, and the people who were going to college back in the 60s and 70s, they seen that nuclear structure that was set up, and they just wanted to demolish that because in their eyes, they seen that it was really anarchy within the nuclear family, the so-called mom and dad family structure. There were certain mental programs that the new generation just wasn't going to settle for, and that's what we're seeing now, the results of the rebellion. This creative plan, as I see it, is to transform dense physical matter to support higher levels of spirit. Therefore, this feminine leadership transition is not likely to be pleasant or painless for men or women, nor will it occur overnight. However it happens, perhaps it will also balance out and adjust the masculine abuses up to this point. Frederick sound like a man. This is a man saying this. A man who's in tune with his divine masculine and divine feminine. This is the truth, however you want to listen to it. Men and women, this is the truth. This is where we're at. However it happens, perhaps it will also balance out and adjust the masculine abuses up to this point and lead the way to a badly needed unification and reconciliation between the genders in the world. And I agree. Let's read that again. However it happens, perhaps it will also balance out and adjust the masculine abuses up to this point and lead the way to a badly needed unification and reconciliation between the genders in the world. Knowing how those who hold power resist giving it up, ain't that the truth? The lower masculine through both male and females will likely oppose the transition. We are reading prophecies right here. In addition, when the creative leadership power finally passes to the feminine, there are likely to be the compensating abuses by the lower feminine in humanity as retribution for past masculine abuses and offenses. Did you guys hear that right quick? Well, I'm going to read it again, of course. But what they're saying is because of the hyper-masculine energy, because of what this male energy has done to the women over the years, and we can start with the Salmon witch trials, the Salem witch trials, and the witch trials, but we can go back to the ancient days even before then. So the hyper-masculine energy and the masculine abuse, the rapes, the tortures, even the stuff that they omitted the woman in the Bible, even that stuff, there's going to be consequences they're saying for this stuff. And their author is saying even if there are consequences, which there are sure to be, when the pendulum switches and the transfer of power goes back to the feminine energy, they're hoping that it brings a balance. So I'm going to read that again once again, and thank you for tuning in. Where we at with this one? Knowing how those who hold power resist giving it up, the lower masculine through both male and females will likely oppose the transition. In addition, when the creative leadership power finally passes to the feminine, there are likely to be compensating abuses by the lower feminine in humanity and retribution for past masculine abuses and offenses. We hope this will not be the case. However, this may be a necessary step in divine justice and karmic, K-A-R-M-I-C, adjustment to clear the way for the hard work ahead in achieving a genuine balancing process individually and collectively within humanity. We have reached the point in our evolutionary development and expansion in consciousness. Did you hear that? They're not telling you this in church. They're not telling you this on news, CNN or Fox. No disrespect to y'all. We have reached a point in our evolutionary development, family, brothers and sisters. Let me scoot back a little bit. We have reached a point in our evolutionary development and expansion in consciousness where the incoming Christ energy is accelerating its creative activities as a potent force for change. Did you know that? A lot of our elders, the Bobby Hemmitts, the Brother Riches, once again, the Dr. Delbert Blairs, the Reverend Ikes, the Mary S. Tompkins, the beautiful Sister Della Reese, the late great Della Reese. I can keep going on. Emmett Fox, Charles and Murda Fillmore. They all been saying this. I'm going to read that again. This is the reason why I say you guys should rejoice. You should be going out and being excited because there's a power within you. The one they call Jesus, Yeshua, whatever you want to call him. That's what he was trying to tell you guys. He wasn't trying to tell you to worship him. He said the power within me is the reason why I can do this. The power within me. I'm here to tell you this through my many years of traveling through Egypt and Tibet. That's what Christ was telling you. You can do this great work, and you would do it in even greater stuff. But the churches hinder this from you. There are certain higher beings that also hinder this for you until you can reach a stage in development to understand this work. This is why I'm always talking about the age of Aquarius. But let's read that again so we can be on one accord. We, me and you, have reached a point in our evolutionary development and expansion in the consciousness where the incoming Christ energy is accelerating its creative activities as a potent force for change. Therefore, to match this pace and cycle, we must increase our rate of growth by learning to embrace and balance the feminine aspects of your creative energy. TikTokers, y'all better take the TikToker all of this. Almost to the cuss word. We have reached a point in our evolutionary development and expansion and consciousness where the incoming Christ energy is accelerating its creative activities as a potent force for change. Therefore, to match this pace and cycle, we must increase our rate for growth by learning to embrace and balance the feminine aspects of your creative energy in ourselves. Remember, Christ said, within you, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, then all righteousness will be added unto you. Not I, but the Father within. He told you in your Bibles that everything he said was a parable. This was the truth. This is the truth, what he was trying to tell you, that within you, not the outer world. Don't be stressing. Don't let your anxiety, X that all out, depression, anxiety. Put it on a piece of paper, light it up, stomp it, do what you got to do, but get it out your life. That stuff, come on now. We in the age of Aquarius, quantum world, fifth dimension. Some people are even higher levels than that. Leave that stuff alone. Leave people alone who tell you that you were sick, that you were poor. Leave that alone. Get rid of that. Leave that alone. Put that down. Once again, we have reached the point in our evolutionary development and expansion in consciousness where the incoming Christ energy is accelerating its creative activities as a potent force for change. Therefore, to match this pace and cycle, we must increase our rate of growth by learning to embrace and balance the feminine aspects of your creative energy in ourselves. Through this transition in the coming cycle phases and periods, we will begin to see that the feminine aspect in all manifested life plays a most powerful life-transforming role in creating and changing physical matter. I want to say that one more time. Through this transition in the coming cycle phases and periods, we will begin to see that the feminine aspect in all manifested life plays a most powerful life-transforming role in creating and changing physical matter. We are physical matter. That's me saying that. As well as nurturing and enriching human life on this physical plane. Now that sounds amazing. That sounds wonderful. This feminine creative energy has always been present in the shadows of human consciousness. Ooh. Ooh. In your Bible, the divine feminine energy has always been there in hidden plain sight. In the Bible, it always has been known as wisdom. The Bible talks about the Queen of Heaven, but it's not talking about Mary. It's talking about Sophia, the wisdom. If you are watching this video currently, listen. If you are watching this video currently and you never heard of Sophia the wisdom and you are a Christian or a spiritual person, I urge you urgently to Google Sophia the wisdom. Don't stop Googling. Extensively Google Sophia, Sophia, the wisdom. Then once you have found it, leave comments. This feminine creative energy has always been present in the shadows of human consciousness. It has been creating and sustaining our lives in ways that have seemed frightening and out of control. Excuse me, I must read that again. This feminine creative energy has always been present in the shadows of human consciousness. It has been creating and sustaining our lives in ways that have seemed frightening and out of our control, especially to the masculine aspect captured in matter. I'm 33 minutes in, and thank you guys for listening, because if you're like me, and you are, this information is hitting you like you can't believe. That's why I'm always mindful that I stop, reread, comprehend. Stop, reread, comprehend. And I'm about to go in again. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, you know they call the Holy Spirit the Shekinah, the Ruach, R-U-A-C-H, Shekinah, the Holy Spirit. If you have not heard of that, once again, Google Shekinah, the Holy Spirit. Even our Islamic brothers, they know this. This feminine creative energy, Shakti, S-H-A-K-T-I. Google that. That's I always tell you, have a pen and pad ready. This is why. Shekinah, the Holy Spirit. Google that. I'm not even going spelling right now because Google's your best friend. But Shakti, S-H-A-K-T-I. These are divine feminine aspects that has always been in your religion, Orthodox religion, that has been hidden from you. So let me keep on going. I don't want to hold too much time. This feminine creative energy has always been present in the shadows of human consciousness. It has been creating and sustaining our lives in ways that have seemed frightening and out of our control, especially to the masculine aspect captured in matter. In the past, our gender body has established the underlying qualification of how the feminine and masculine energies unconsciously, and I like to use the word subconsciously as well, or instantly, expressed through our subtle bodies, our consciousness, and our life. However, by no means should we allow it to define us as embodying human egos or souls. Let me read that again. In the past, our gender bodies has established the underlying qualifications of how the feminine and masculine energies unconsciously or instantly expressed through our subtle bodies, our consciousness, and our life. However, by no means should we allow it to define us as embodying human egos or souls. The human female body naturally seems to provide the direct and immediate access to levels of the eternal feminine, allowing its expression with great facility. The same is true with the male body and the eternal masculine. However, any female or male can also express their feminine or masculine energy within themselves. The human female body naturally seems to provide the direct and immediate access to levels of the internal feminine, allowing its expression with great facility. The same is true with the male body and the eternal masculine. However, any female or male can also express the feminine or masculine energy within themselves. First, each must be willing to acknowledge and value it in other females or males. Whoa. First, each must be willing to acknowledge and value it in other females or males, which will begin the process of leading them to this energy within their own being. Listen, if y'all not leaving comments, sharing this, subscribing, having conversations with your family, like this should be a family event. You should have your family or your loved one or just watching this. This is very important. This should be a whole conversation amongst the masses of people. The same is true with the male body and the internal masculine. However, any female or male can also express the feminine or masculine energy within themselves. First, each must be willing to acknowledge and value it in other females or males, which will begin the process of leading them to this energy within their own being. In a male, the masculine aspect is usually the most active and the feminine aspect is the most passive. Therefore, men must struggle to access their own feminine nature and to allow it freedom of active expression in their lives. I'll read that again for my brothers. Therefore, men must struggle to access their own feminine nature and to allow it freedom of active expression in their lives. That is powerful. How powerful, minister? So powerful. Let's read it again. Men. Therefore, men must struggle to access their own feminine nature and to allow its freedom of active expression in their lives. In females, my sisters, since the feminine aspect is the most active and the masculine the most passive, they must struggle to access their masculine nature and to allow it free expression in their lives. It works both ways. Because the passive aspects of both the masculine and the feminine are not easily available to us and therefore not well developed without considerable conscious effort, we feel vulnerable to the other gender that seems to have immediate and powerful access to it. Oprah. Man, somebody hit up Oprah. Oprah. This book needs to be in the book club, Oprah. Somebody hit up Oprah. Somebody hit up Gail. Somebody hit up Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry, we might get... Listen, somebody hit up Oprah. Let's see here. Because the passive aspects of both the masculine and feminine are not easily available to us, and therefore not well developed without considerable conscious effort, we feel vulnerable to the other gender that seems to have immediate and powerful access to it. Since we are out of aspect balance internally, we try to compensate for this sense of weakness by projecting our own passive aspects onto the opposite gender in our life. Couples, relationships, come together on this video. If you know a couple that knows a couple who knows a couple, who can use a couple, share this video. This is very powerful information. Do you agree? Let's read it again. Because the passive aspects of both the masculine and feminine are not easily available to us and therefore not well developed without considerable conscious effort, we feel vulnerable to the other gender that seems to have immediate and powerful access to it. Since we are out of aspect balance internally within, we try to compensate for this. We try to compensate for this sense of weakness by projecting our own passive aspects onto the opposite gender in our life. How many people have done that? You ain't got to think about it. How many of us has done this consciously or subconsciously? I'm going to read that again. Since we are out of aspect balance internally, we try to compensate for this sense, of weakness by projecting our own passive aspect onto the opposite gender in our life. Then we usually try to control the aspect we are lacking in them rather than developing it and consciously directing within ourselves. Wow. That is the wowzers. If y'all agree with that one statement alone, hit the like button just off of that. And I'm going to read that again so you can hit the like button. You ready? Since we are out of aspect balance internally, we try to compensate for this sense of weakness by projecting our own passive aspect onto the opposite gender in our life. Then we usually try to control the aspect we are lacking in them rather than developing it and consciously directing it within ourselves. Control is the key word because that is exactly what males and the masculine aspect have had over females and the feminine for a very long time now. I never met a female named Frederick. We are living in different times, so I can be wrong. But this is a man saying this. Think about that, men and females. Control is the key word because that is exactly what males and the masculine aspect have had over females and the feminine for a very long time now. Males have not had a sense of direct access to their own more passive feminine nature because their own male body consciousness usually blocks it. Believing it is only available to them through females, males have tried to control and dominate females in fear of losing access to this powerful feminine and form creating energy outside of themselves. Yo. I don't know about y'all, family, but I didn't listen to a lot of things, and I done read a lot of books, and I didn't watch a lot of TV and YouTube and lectures and presentations. This is heavy. Sisters out there who are watching this right now, brothers who are sitting back watching this right now, I would love for us to have a round table, square table, any type of table we can find and have a nice dialogue about this, because this can really build us together as divine masculine and divine feminine. This can really bring us together as unity as it needs to be. So I thank y'all for watching. Chapter 3 is really real. Chapter 3 is really hitting different. Let's read that again. And we're not doing, but this might be an hour one this time, because we're going to, we only got a couple more pages. So let's wrap this up and thank you for your patience. But it's going to be about an hour presentation. So if you want to pause and get some snacks, get a drink, do what you got to do. But here we go. I'm going back in. Control. Control is the key word because that is exactly what males and the masculine aspect have had over females and the feminine for a very long time now. Males have not had a sense of direct access to their own more passive feminine nature because their own male body consciousness usually blocks it. Believing it is only available to them through females, males have tried to control and dominate females in fear of losing access to this powerful feminine and form creating energy outside of themselves. Conversely, females have tried to control and dominate males in fear of losing access to the equally powerful masculine matter moving energy through them. I'll read that again. Conversely, females have tried to control and dominate males in fear of losing access to the equally powerful masculine matter moving energy through them. We're both trying to take each other's energy, not knowing that if we just balance it, man, the world would be better off. The world would be healed. Wow. Up until a few hundred years ago, the physical and mental strength that males embodies was essential to combat and mitigate the harsh realities of human life. With such physical demands placed on them, males did not have much opportunity or motivation to develop their own internal feminine while playing this masculine role for humanity. I'm going to read that again, and then with 47 minutes going in, I don't care what I read. Unless it's some real heavy, hard-hitting stuff like the rest of us been, I'm going to just keep going in through the whole rest of the chapter. So let's go in. Up until a few hundred years ago, the physical and mental strength that males embodied was essential to combat and mitigate the harsh realities of human life. With such physical demands placed on them, males did not have much opportunity or the motivation to develop their own internal feminine while playing this masculine role for humanity. The way of nature and therefore of the world has been might makes right, or the force of personal will. Because of this dense nature of the physical plane, this was the only energy to which nature matter, the human body, as well as the dim, evolving human and deviant consciousness would ultimately respond. It is essential to keep in mind that this pattern of directing force through personal will has operated automatically within both males and females in our collective relationship with matter. Human awareness in the past lacked the higher mind faculties needed to understand how to work with body matter consciousness to bring about change without this kind of aggressive bearing. As everyone in the world knows, pain, agony, and death have been the result. However, these very physical consequences have acted as the stimulus to our continued development as human beings. Unfortunately, pain and suffering are often the only experiences traumatic enough to break us free from our limitations and consciousness. Keep going, Corbin. Unfortunately, pain and suffering are often the only experiences traumatic enough to break us free from our limitations and consciousness, as well as our dependence on the matter of our bodies and the natural world. At some point in our spiritual growth, we must come to understand and accept that our karmic past determines our present life conditions. We have all suffered in previous embodiments as both males and females. However, that fact is of no immediate comfort to anyone presently learning how to take responsibility for balancing their past lives. When we are able to incorporate karma consciously and practically into our present lives, we stand the chance of changing our behavior towards others in the world. If not, in future embodiments, we will continue to shift between female and male gender bodies, suffering the consequences of our individual or collective past. This will continue until the principle of aspect or gender equality becomes enough of a priority for us to commit to working towards it now. When we can apply what we know and are learning in our everyday lives, we are better able to find forgiveness within ourselves for our past actions. I want to read that one again. When we can apply what we know and are learning in our everyday lives, we are better able to find forgiveness within ourselves for our past actions in ignorance. In some ways, we have been like children trying to live in an adult world with undeveloped mental faculties. I have said this for so long mentally. Brothers and sisters, with almost an hour going in, hit the like button if you agree. If you don't disagree, you ain't got, hit the like button if you agree. If you disagree, you ain't got to hit the like button. But let me read this one more time. In some ways, we have been like children trying to live in an adult world with undeveloped mental faculties and no life experiences. Out of the ruins of our past, we continue to learn how to live, create, and relate to others in the world with increasing consciousness. To make progress individually, we must transcend our collective social conditioning. Presently, our cultural and religious training still governs our masculine and feminine personality expressions. This usually manifests as a lower evolutionary imitation or emulation of our exalted spiritual aspects. Under the dividness of gender, or under the dividing parts of gender power and control dynamics align with the force in matter, the lower masculine and feminine energies create the conflicted interpersonal conditions we see in the world today. Wow. Under this division of gender power and control dynamics aligned with the force in matter, the lower masculine and feminine energies create the conflicted interpersonal conditions we see in the world today. And we're almost done. We're almost going to wrap this up. Through the physical body of each gender, our personality automatically expresses an unconscious and instinctive level of lower feminine or lower masculine energy. The subliminal impact of this instinctive force is the underlying source of the ongoing conflict. Whatever course these expressions take, their manifestations bind together through devic energy. This forms a lower masculine and feminine lock, or agreement in matter. The agreement is one of conflict, thereby creating the lock. Each gender must find an internal transition or path to their true masculine and true feminine expression. By developing these aspects as well as giving them freedom to express in our lives, each of us goes deeper into our respective higher feminine or masculine spirit. As illogical as this might seem to our lower minds and nature, our transmutation and new body work proved to us that it is true nonetheless. As Helen, the author says, enter the later stages of the new body work, and this is talking about her old book. She has a previous book where the character is named Helen. As Helen entered the later stages of the new body work, we discover much more about the role of the universal feminine and masculine polarity in matter. In particular, we gain insight into how their agreement forms locks to create our bodies and the world as we know it. All form is a result of the creative principle of the feminine and masculine duality jointly holding a thought form together. Holy Snapple Juice. Did you hear that? Holy Snapple Juice. Did you hear that? All form is a result of the creative principle of the feminine and masculine duality jointly holding a thought form together. This is necessary in order to create bodies of expression in the matter of any plane. These locks resist evolutionary and or initiatory energies for new creation. They also oppose any new level of energy other than what already exists in matter from the last solar system and or from previous root race body developments. I'm going to keep on reading this back. Let's get it. These locks resist evolutionary and or initiatory energies for new creation. These are preventing you from rising to higher vibrations, family, is what it's saying. These locks resist evolutionary and or initiatory energies for new creation. They also oppose any new levels of energy other than what already exists in matter from the last solar system and or from previous root race body development. Through our continued inner work and focus, this is how you can break that curse and break that trap. Through our continued inner work and focus, we learn that the masculine active aspect usually precedes the feminine passive aspect into creative manifestations. Once manifested, the masculine or feminine role as dominant or passive varies according to the purpose of the cycle or phase for any particular emanation scheme, globe period, round, or root race. However, when considering the dense physical plane, the energy force in matter causes crystallization of these aspects and their individual and joint patterns of energy expression. In doing so, this force captures the pattern's inherent access to higher energy flowing through the masculine or feminine while locked in matter. This gives the force in matter a powerful motive to maintain this lock. This is talking about that God in your Bible, that demiurge. In doing so, this force captures the pattern's inherent access to higher energies flowing through the masculine or feminine while locked in matter. This gives the force in matter a powerful motive to maintain this lock. It also is able to resist newer levels of Christ energy that can bring change to our life and world. What's the irony in that? The God that most people praise in church is the one that is holding you back for the Christ energy. How about that? The God that most people, the demiurge that most people praise in their churches, that is the same God that's holding you back from your Christ energy. Locked in matter and captured by the force in matter over time, the devic and elemental energy becomes crystallized within each of the aspect patterns. As a result, they develop defense mechanisms that lock together and resist change. Wow. This devic activity represents an inherent masculine and feminine entity within all form and protects existing thought forms they have created in matter. When the time comes to replace the old or outdated thought forms with new ones, this internal entity becomes the opposition to the new levels and higher duality aspects of Christ's energy coming into our bodies or into the world. We almost done, family. Thank you for your patience, family. This has been a crazy, banana, amazing, magnificent, wonderful, colossal presentation, family. Let's end it right. Let's end it right. We must keep in mind, though, that this lower level of the masculine and feminine work in tandem, so their control and lock-in activities are intimately linked. When one is dominant in power and authority, the other passive one learns how to manipulate indirectly to get its way. Because of this, these hidden patterns can become more insidious and more difficult to identify and transmute as compared to the more direct or visible ones expressing through male or females in the world. In some disciplines, the lower aspect patterns are referred to as the false masculine and false feminine. Regardless of what we call them, we must identify and transmute all the restrictive internal patterns that block us from becoming balanced and conscious co-creators with you. While any cycle or phase of creative work is in process, this masculine-feminine lock in matter is legitimate, positive, and necessary to hold for and manifest form for that level of evolutionary purpose. However, when the purpose changes and the prior positive masculine or feminine is unable or refuses to break its lock with the force in matter, it becomes an integral part of the opposition to the new emanation, as emanation, or creative energy cycle. The opposing lock must be broken to clear the old, now restrictive pattern of expression. In this respect, neither is better or worse than the other. They just represent different aspects of the opposition and matter. Anything that is positive and constructive can become negative and destructive. Let me read that again, and we're almost done. Anything that is positive and constructive can become negative and destructive unless it is replaced when it has served its purpose. A cast to help a broken bone heal properly or any other development aid holds a positive purpose up until the day it has finished its job. Not removing it hinders or prevents the next phase of healing. That is correct. That is true. That is powerful. I got to read that again. The metaphor was crazy. Anything that is positive and constructive can become negative and destructive unless it is replaced when it has served its purpose. A cast to help a broken bone heal properly or any other developmental aid holds a positive purpose up until the day it has finished its job. Not removing it hinders or prevents the next phase of healing, rehabilitation, or development. This is true with the devic lives and consciousness that makes up our bodies and the form of the world. When they have served their creative purpose, they are usually unable to express higher energy without further development in another sphere of the greater plane. For its own spiritual growth and path, the diva, or that's DEVA, or divic energy, must release its place in our lives so that a higher order may enter our bodies. Otherwise, it becomes a type of divic possession, draining energy from our lives and imposing the next level of energy that need to fulfill our creative purpose. And with the hour going in, guys, do you guys feel me on when I say, when I relate to the Batman movie, when they said, I know you know where I'm going with this, the Batman quote, "You either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain." Two-Face, I can't think of, y'all can hit me on the comments what his name was right now, but you know, is that Two-Face name, whatnot, it'll come to me. Harvey Dent, I believe. Harvey Dent, they were talking about that. Either you die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And we see that with what they call so-called idols and celebrities and whatnot. That's why you see certain celebrities like Michael Jackson, Tupac, Biggie even, Nipsey, Prince. These people serve their purpose and then they got to go, because if not, then you guys are going to find some type of way, as we see now, to demonize them. And this is what this is saying. At least this is what I feel like it's saying, but I'm going to read it again. This is true with devic lives and consciousness that makes up our bodies in the form of the world. When they have served their creative purpose, they are usually unable to express higher energy without further development in another sphere of the greater plane, of the greater plan, For its own spiritual growth and path, the diva, DEVA, or divic energy must release its place in our lives so that a higher order may enter our bodies. Otherwise, it becomes a type of divic possession, draining energy from our lives and opposing the next level of energy that we need to fulfill our creative purpose. Divic life has no conscious awareness of anything other than fulfilling its specific and limited purpose of building form and maintaining it. Therefore, for it to ascend into the next evolutionary level of its spiritual development and being, it must rely on the emerging and development human consciousness and matter to liberate it from its form and function. Since the most potent locks in matter comes through our feminine masculine aspect and gender agreements in human consciousness, we need to make them conscious and spiritually purposeful. When internally balanced as individuals and working in partnership equally with others, we have the greatest potential to be potent creative agents for Christ's energy, change, and matter. I want you to give yourself a round of applause. I'm going to give myself a round of applause at 1 hour and 3, going on 4. What did you think of these chapters? Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. Is it good enough to share? Is it good enough to leave a comment? Is it good enough to stop this video and think about your life through Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3, the trilogy? Did it give you a better insight on who you are? Did it make you realize that you are greater, as I've been telling you this whole time? Did it give you a bigger or a different aspect on religion? Or did you keep the same ideology? Family, as an ordained metaphysical minister, as a metaphysician, just like Christ was, it's my mission, as we are now using the word awake and aware, we are going to higher levels. This dark matter that scientists are talking about, this is primordial energy. This is mother, the matter, M-A-T-E-R, the great divine mother returning. Things that I told you guys to write down, like Shekinah, Shakti, S-H-A-K-T-I. Some of you know of Kali in the Eastern philosophy, the goddess. These are energies that are now coming back into our lives. They're really, like the book said, never really left. It's been in the shadows. So for my females, rise in your power. To my males, rise in your powers. But when you rise, ladies and gentlemen, rise in unity. Peace, love, and prosperity. Corbin out.